Good morning and happy Friday, the first Friday of 2024. It's going to be the first weekend too, so hopefully everybody's got some great plans. We have special guests in our studio today. We actually have Chris and Racquel Garcia, who are actually the brains and everything behind. It's kind of a different interview today because there's part nonprofit and part business, which is HVAC. Business. So thank you guys very much for coming in, Chris and Racquel. How are you guys doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no problem. So I'd like to just have you kind of introduce yourself and just kind of get started with kind of the nonprofit aspect of what you guys do. And it is called HardBeauty. So
it is.
Yeah.
So it is a layered hybrid business organization. It takes three to work together. But I'll start off by telling you about HardBeauty Foundation. HardBeauty Foundation is a nonprofit organization that actually started off in 2014 as helping everyone recover after the Black Forest fire. So to give you a little bit of background before that, first and foremost, I am a woman in long-term recovery. And what that means for me is I've not had a drink or misused a prescription in it'll be 14 years this month.
This month. Very nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's my birthday this year, or my rebirth day.
It's your birthday this year?
This month, I mean. This month. HardBeauty Foundation came out of when I got sober. I got sober in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, and part of that space includes a give back. Before I got sober, when I was young, even in active use, when I was in my youth, I was a community advocate. I loved to help the community. I've always been someone who gave from a place beyond myself. And when I got sober, I kind of became lost because I didn't know what to do with myself. I was no longer going to bars. To be honest, unfortunately, my husband at the time, Chris, was not sober, and I needed to find something to do with myself. And when it talked about giving back as part of how we stay sober and how we recover, something relit inside of me. And I wanted to be a part of whatever that was. And after I got sober in 12 actually, I put myself through college and I decided I was going to be an addiction counselor because I had seen so many people struggle to get sober. Mm-hmm. So I put myself through college, got myself a degree as an addiction counselor, and then didn't love treatment. I didn't love it.
You didn't love treatment, okay.
No, so a lot of us go to school, you think you have this one idea, you're going to be this thing. And I went to school and I tried to become this thing, and I went to do the thing, and I didn't love doing the thing. But I loved still being active with people who were struggling. Something about that brings me a peace.
Can I ask what you didn't like about it?
I didn't like I didn't like the restrictive nature of being a counselor and a therapist.
Okay.
So when you're a counselor and a therapist, you have some boundaries that you must maintain and withhold within yourself.
Right.
And part of that's not to share your personal story. If you research me or know me, I don't know how to live outside of my story. So at that time, the Black Forest fire had occurred, and my daughter was dancing in class at a dance class, and we watched 3 of the people in her dance class lose their home within the first 24 hours of the Black Forest fire. And we didn't know what to do. My daughter says, "Mama, I want to do something for the people that lost their homes." And I said, the year before, Waldo Canyon fire had happened, and I was kind of trapped in my car for 3 or 4 days while we were pre-evacuated, and I lived off of gift cards, and I lived off of people's donations to me. So it occurred to me okay, that's what we'll do. We'll collect gift cards, and we'll start getting things for these families so they can live in the hotels and things, because everything they had was gone.
Every little bit helps, right?
Everything. And when you have nothing, When I got sober and I decided to put myself through treatment, I had nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I had pretty much destroyed my marriage. I was in the process of losing my home. I had lost my job because I couldn't stay sober. Several jobs because I couldn't stay sober. And I know what it's like to lose everything. So I felt for them in this way of emptiness. And I wanted to provide anything to support them. So we started off with gift cards, and we collected those. And then people knew I was doing that. And they said, hey, I got some extra Tupperware. How about that? And I said, okay, I'll take that. And our garage started filling up. And the next thing I know, I'm getting bags of clothing and things like that. And so what started as an idea to help my daughter's friends grew into us helping 438 homes restart their lives, and helping everyone recover was born. And I did that from 2014 until 2017, 18. And then I had to put that chapter aside, because number one, I had gotten plagued with an autoimmune disorder that really left me very crippled. I lived most of my life in a wheelchair and by cane. And so I had to put the nonprofit down. And at the same time, my husband, Chris, who's here, was dealing with his own demons, and the amount of his substance use, because he returned back to use, combined with the amount of work I was doing for the community and my physical nature, just kind of had me step out.
Just kind of overflowed. Gotcha.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, so I put it down. I put the nonprofit down, and I also at the time knew that I needed to do something about Chris's substance use. I had been sober all these years, 8 years by myself, in a small town. I was in Palmer Lake, Colorado. Population was 2,500. My husband is a blue-collar worker and spent most of his Fridays at the local bar with all of the other blue-collar workers, because in a small town, that's what you do.
Oh, yeah.
The electricians hanging out with the plumber who knows the mechanic, who just, that's how small towns work.
And it becomes one big family, kind of, really, that focuses around the bar or the restaurant, whatever it is. Yeah.
Right. It was kind of like a community.
Mm-hmm. And so Chris, during this time, so she'd been sober for about 8 years and everything, and you just kind of just kept working at your job. Have you always done HVAC work?
26 years.
26 years with it, okay. And at this time, you were working for somebody else?
My own business at that time.
Okay, excellent.
It was Trinity Mechanical.
Mechanical, okay. Mm-hmm. All right. And so when all of this kind of started, then you said you put down the nonprofit for a little while. What actually kind of sparked to get back into it? Because you had to get back into it. Or is this a different nonprofit that you're talking about?
No, it kind of ends up the same. I mean, we just transferred helping everyone recover. It kind of manifest or morphed into HardBeauty Foundation.
Okay.
Because so Chris's addiction has taken over. So him and his friends are spending a lot of time in the bars. They're drinking. Cocaine came back on the scene. And we have 4 children, Jordan, Mackenzie, Jaden, and Jesse. And they're getting older. So now they're 14, they're teenagers.
The fun years, yep.
Yeah. And I have always been open with my children about my recovery. They know what a sober mother looks like. They know how a mother maintains her recovery and sobriety. I have spent years working on myself, whether it be education or 12 steps or bettering myself. And when they were witnessing their father, whom we said was sick, because that's how I identified. I said, he's just sick. You know, he has the same problem that I did, and he's unwilling to do anything about it. They were at an age where I had to do something different.
Right.
And I knew what they were seeing, because when I was 14 years old, that was the view in my home. My dad was drinking too much. My mother was working really hard. And I knew I had to make a different choice. And it was the most frightening experience because I was a stay-at-home mom. He was the primary breadwinner. And I filed for divorce because he wouldn't stop. I asked him to quit drinking. The kids were being affected. And I'm a man. This is my home. I'll do what I want.
Right.
And I said, you are going to be able to do what you want, but you're not going to do it here. And so I filed for divorce. And that's when HardBeauty was actually born, because I had an lucid dream that night. I always wanted to wear a word, right? We're in the new year. And everyone's like, let's pick a word.
Right.
What's your word for the year? Have you picked one yet?
No.
You haven't got a word? Okay.
No.
I'm watching social media and everyone's getting a word right now. And that year I wanted a word. I was like, okay, I'm going to be faithful. I'll pick faith. And I'd go to sleep and I'd wake up and that wasn't it. Didn't feel it.
Right.
I was going to be faithful. I was going to be good. I was going to be balanced and all these, holistic things. And I asked God, power greater, whatever you call it, to give me something that night. And I couldn't sleep. And he just kept giving me HardBeauty, HardBeauty, HardBeauty. And that next day, I knew that the hardest, most beautiful thing I was ever going to have to do was choose to love myself over anything or anyone else, including him and including my marriage. And it's the first time that I ever loved myself more than anything. And I filed for divorce. I actually, within 4 days, went and tattooed the words HardBeauty on my hands. And now I can't stop saying it. HardBeauty is choosing what's best for yourself over anything or everyone. And I am a nationally recognized coach. And I started working with people in my community again, because that's the part I'd put down. I stopped working with others. So I started working with people in my community. Now, it's COVID.
Yep.
So everyone is home and people are drowning. And my inbox is filling with people that are like, Racquel, I can't stop drinking. What's going on? What's going on? And so myself and this girl, Tiffany, out of Palmer Lake, Colorado, we both met at the local bar, which is kind of an ironic thing. Tiffany used to be the bartender. Actually, Tiffany used to be the bartender that served him drinks for years. And I filed for divorce and I started helping people. And then a miracle happened, actually. And we went to a marriage retreat, him and I, Chris and I, and 3 men of faith put their hands on my husband. And it was the most supernatural experience I've ever seen. And all of the booze poured out of his pores. Y'all can believe me or not, I don't care. That's what happened. And he has never had a drink since.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, definitely. How long has it been for you?
5.5 years.
5.5 years. Very nice. Very nice. We're going to take a quick break right here. We will be right back with Chris and Racquel. You're listening to K4CO Radio. We are back with Chris and Racquel Garcia on K4CO Radio. They are with HardBeauty. So we've been talking about kind of the steps leading up to all of this. And so what really kind of sparked the nonprofit mixed in with a profit business going on. So we do have HardBeauty Mechanical, which Chris, I take it, basically you run the HardBeauty Mechanical aspect. And that is hardbeautymechanical.tech, correct?
Correct.
All right. So, yeah, if you could kind of let the listeners know just kind of how that kind of got started. You just got sober. You both are just like, what are we doing now? And what kind of came about it?
I got sober 5/28/2018. And I was working for somebody else. Owned my own business at that point. I serviced restaurant equipment when it failed.
Gotcha.
COVID came around, shut down the restaurants. And I lost and had to shut down the business and go work for somebody else. Well, while I was working for somebody else, a couple of years went by and I got myself in a motorcycle accident last year and ended up on the couch in a sling. I was pretty beat up.
Last year? Okay.
Correct. Last July.
Last July, okay.
2021.
21,
Right.
okay.
No,
Gotcha.
23.
No, 20.
23.
Okay.
So not like the last July,
22.
but the one before that.
Right.
22. We've just gotten a 24. I know it messes me up.
It messes
okay.
everybody up for the first month or
We
two.
just got here. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm sitting there, and it's right next to her office at home, and I'm listening to what's going on in there. And I've always known what she did for work, but I'm listening, and everything is inspiring and helping people and others, and all I'm doing is working, right, for somebody else. And I wanted to work with purpose, right, help people. So HardBeauty Mechanical was born at that moment. When I got that, after I recovered from the accident and went back to work and working with that boss and finding out that it was all about just money, not helping anybody really. I was like, man, I just don't want to, I don't want to do this. I don't want to just work.
to work.
Yeah,
exactly.
just to work and make money. I want to work, make money, and help others. Give myself some purpose. Teach somebody a trade, right?
Okay.
So HardBeauty Mechanical is born. The mission behind it is to give those in recovery a livable wage and teach them a skill set that they can provide for their families. Also, those coming out of incarceration. You come out of jail and you get these dead-end jobs.
Right.
Little warehouse work or holding a stop sign or, working at 7-Eleven, and you get minimum wage for that.
Right.
You can't provide for your family or even yourself in Colorado for 13 something an hour.
Oh, no, especially these days. Exactly.
No, it just can't happen.
So you take in actually people that don't know anything about HVAC, and you train them, you get them, is there licensing involved eventually once they, do they have to go through steps to, be licensed HVAC?
I would like to see that in the end,
That's where the nonprofit will come in.
Gotcha. Right. Gotcha. So, HardBeauty Mechanical then, so you get the money from all the clients that you're fixing, and then this kind of pours into the nonprofit of HardBeauty, correct?
Yes.
Gotcha. And that's where the nonprofit kind of kicks in. So, if that kind of goes with the mechanical side and then leads into it, what basically happens there?
Well, what I love about it is, Chris has a felony background, and I like to share this story because he could always, as the owner of a company, nobody asks him, hey, what's your criminal background look like?
Right, exactly.
They see owner, they let him in the door. If Chris were to go work for an HVAC company that it requires you to be bonded to go in a home, he has never offended again since he was 19 in the way that he did. He would not maybe be able to get a job. Chris has provided solely for our family for years because he learned a skill set. And I didn't have to work. I was able to take care of my children at home. And he was able to provide for our family for years. And so we want to give that opportunity to other humans working in the blue-collar world even. And we're starting with HVAC because of Chris, because that's his skill set. He's brilliant at it.
It's also amazing these days where I say, I have 2 little nieces, and I'm like, learn a trade, learn a skill. No one wants to do it, and you can make some really good money. You can make a good difference there. So
absolutely, our schools have been pushing 4-year degrees to our kids for the last 20 years.
Yeah,
and now they've all got these degrees with this big bill from the colleges, right? They got to pay that back. And they're bartenders,
right,
waitresses, because there's no work in their actual job field.
Very few people actually do what they went to school for. I mean, with the exception of, you got lawyers and doctors and stuff like that. But a lot of times, you get this bill that is almost maybe even 6 figures, depending on where you go. You got to pay it back. And then a lot of times you're not even working in the same field, right, that you were studying.
Well, and we need tradesmen.
Right, exactly.
I love me a blue collar boy. Like the reality is we need people to keep the lights on and fix our things. And it's a skill set that will be gone with a generation if we do not teach it. Now, Chris was blessed. He had great mentorship his whole life. He didn't have to go to school. He's someone who started off at $8 an hour, banging tin in a cold, empty home when he was 19, 20 years old. Now, sorry, I got distracted by the sound I heard. But I think that that's hard to do, especially coming out of incarceration. So, for example, I go and I work inside Canyon City Corrections. And inside Canyon City Correction Facility, when I share with them that there was a gentleman who came up to me and he said, "Hey, Miss Garcia, I have to tell you, when I hear that you have a heating and air conditioning company that might hire me when I get out of here," he says, "you and me, we are no different." He says, "I drank a lot of booze and did a lot of cocaine just like you." And I said, "I drank a lot of booze and I did a lot of cocaine." And he says, "You give me hope. I could get a job there. I can do that work," he says to me. Well, what if we combine a skill set and a business that is for profit, right? He has to make money. We have to employ people. And we teach a skill set and we give an opportunity to a gentleman who's coming out of prison. I know that it's working because I get letters from those gentlemen still today, from those gentlemen inside prison who are excited that they might get a job when they get out. And what do you think that does to the gentleman sitting inside for the next 9-10 months? He has hope.
Right.
He's like, I'm going to get out and I'm not going to have to dig ditches. I might actually have an opportunity. And we know that the opposite of addiction is connection. What if we also provide an environment that gives sobriety and recovery a priority? Let's be real. I know people in my town right now who are still drowning inside the bars and are still active in use because the world of the blue collar also can be very active in use. Sometimes these boys, Chris and I went and told our story at a treatment center. When I told them we were starting a recovery meeting, we have this business and we have a recovery meeting started called Blue Collar Recovery. By the way, any blue collar workers, if you want an environment where it's safe to be recovering, then come and join us. It's free. It's online. But what if we also had an environment that allowed these gentlemen to go to meetings when they needed to go get a meeting? If they needed to go to therapy, they could do that. If they get to visitation for their children, we're going to give people an opportunity to recover. They're going to get mentorship. So that's where I come in. I'm a coach, and the part of our for-profit business also is coaching. So they will not only get a skill set, they'll get a life and recovery coach that can help them get that accomplished. And we will provide employment that provides a sustainable way of living. Combine that with the nonprofit organization. Currently, we're working with Pikes Peak Community College, where we're setting up a fund where not only, let's just say, I'm going to give a guy named Sam. Sam comes out. Sam needs a job. He's gotten sober. He's been doing recovery for a year, but he wants more. Pikes Peak Community College and I are going to work together to create a scholarship where they could go to school. And they'll work on, because Chris can't educate everybody. He ain't got the time. Right. But we can partner with schools all over the state of Colorado to educate them, and we'll provide the mentorship, we'll provide the apprenticeship, and the internship opportunities. Now, if we have openings for employment, then yes, we will employ. But if not, that's not just for us, but they can work in other HVAC organizations or other companies across Colorado.
Exactly.
Right?
Once they have the skill set, they can actually do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right. Now, when it comes to the kind of counseling aspect of this, the mentoring, I mean, there's the business part, but then you also said there's the road to recovery aspect of it. And I love how you said that you didn't like how most therapists, they cannot share their story. It's kind of like, no, this is about your patient. This isn't a give and take. But in my mind, how is somebody going to stop drinking and drugging by somebody who's never touched a drop of alcohol, by somebody who's never taken a drug? No. That is not the right way to do it. So when it comes to the therapy aspect of that, do you have people on staff? How many therapists do you have? How many mentors do you have when it comes to keeping them on that road?
Well, we are one of the fastest growing recovery coaching practices in the state of Colorado. We own it's HardBeauty Recovery Coaching, and what we do is we have 24 coaches actually.
Wow.
That do this work. Every single person is in recovery, not maybe just from substance use. It could be substance use, mental health, trauma, all of that. And so we work with all of that. We are also able to accept. We have scholarships. So most people, we don't. The nonprofit removes the barrier of money. I don't want somebody. Treatment is the shortest. If you go to treatment, you go to rehab, because everybody's used to watching like the show Intervention, right?
Yep.
I actually interviewed to be on that show. They interview for the show Intervention because they think that if we just do an intervention and we give everybody $40,000 worth of 30 days worth of treatment, that
it'll work.
Yeah, boom, done.
Yep.
We're out.
Simple fix.
Yeah, for 14 years. I went to treatment. Treatment was 22 days. It cost $24,000. It was the most expensive and shortest part of my recovery. For the last 13 and a half years, it has been the community. It has been another woman who actually walked beside me for 8.5 years. When I would get stuck, she'd guide me. She was my coach. And now peer recovery coaching is what it is. I'm actually part of the workforce development for the state of Colorado. I also do national development of peer recovery coaches for SAMHSA and the country in Washington. But this is actually something that is being noticed as like, we need each other. I mean, actively today, I still recover. Unfortunately, I lost my father on December 12th, and that has been challenging for me. It's the first time I've experienced someone that I love this deeply close to me while not numbing myself. Even today, I still recover, and I still need people and places to go where people know and understand me, right? And they've been through it. So we offer this service, and imagine the success if we compare that with also employment, right? We give people an active, an opportunity and a possibility for something greater. Our society usually is like, hey, you know what? Here's this opportunity. Cross your fingers. I hope you make it. We'll pray for you. No, we can do better, and we can walk alongside people, and the success is wonderful. We're successful. How about it's working? Like, we hear so many stories about things not working. Oh, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. What if I tell you it's working? What if I tell you that 97% of the people that come to us plant goals for themselves and make them? Right. It's amazing. And if we can give people an opportunity with employment, and then we are taking it a step further. HardBeauty Foundation will be opening up a recovery house for women and children inside Douglas County. It's the first one ever in Douglas County ever. We're starting with women and children, but Chris's hope is to also get housing involved where, we can take care of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, make sure you got housing, got a good solid job. You can go to the doctor. You can take care of your mental health, your physical health. I mean, what could we do with that?
Right.
That's how we get people back on a road of self-sustainability too. 2 years ago, we were on welfare. 2.5 years ago, I was a stay-at-home mom 4 years ago. And I finally got to get off of Medicaid only 2.5 years ago. I've only had health care, regular, normal, everyday health care for 2 years, or 1.5 years actually, for the first time since I was 20. And when we recover, part of our, what we do is give back. So, HardBeauty Mechanical is is part of a drive. We're collecting things for the unhoused, hygiene items and things like that. We package that with Narcan, which is the reversal agent for opioid use overdose. And we go out in the community. So I like HardBeauty Mechanical because we came up with the tagline. It's like, work with purpose. I mean, he's a work. I mean, Chris is a worker bee, blue collar worker. He's working, but like he said, he wanted something more.
You definitely need that in you, especially if you are taking out bad habits. You need more good habits, more positivity in order to stay on that road. And that is awesome. I really, really love that. And we will be right back. And HardBeauty, so the nonprofit is actually hardbeautyfoundation.org. On that for the people that are just tuning in. We also have the operation side, the HVAC side of HardBeautyMechanical.tech. We will be right back with you on K4CO Radio. We are back on K4CO Radio with HardBeauty Mechanical and HardBeauty with Chris and Racquel Garcia. Chris, I wanted to kind of steer a little bit over to the mechanical side, okay? Now, there are HVAC companies out there. Of course, and people do need them. I mean, everything from the water heater to the regular heater to air conditioning to everything. And it's just very nice, this type of setup that you have where, a customer is not just giving you money to get their stuff fixed. They're giving you money for an much bigger purpose right
Absolutely.
there. So yeah, if you could just kind of go through the business side. You're the business on the HardBeauty Mechanical side. So let people know one, how they can contact you and everything that kind of goes into HardBeauty Mechanical and how that kind of goes over to regular HardBeauty.
Okay. So we work on repairing, installation of heating, air conditioning, residential or commercial.
Okay.
Also water heaters, boilers, air handlers, you name it. If it's heating, air conditioning, or pushing air in general.
If it's hot or cold, call you.
I'm
Yep.
the man.
Exactly. There you go.
We also build commercial kitchens for restaurants, hospitals, old folks' homes.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it's not service. You actually build as well.
Correct.
That's great. Very nice. So when it comes to the hospital, do you go out to get them to let them know about HardBeauty Mechanical and advertise to them? I know some of those, just to let people know. So you were telling me actually, Racquel, that about a certain percentage of HardBeauty Mechanical funnels into HardBeauty, the nonprofit.
It does, because they need to work together, right? Because what Chris does is goes out and, is constructing and fixing and, creating that business side. But we need that because it offsets also. He's donating 10% of profits come back to the nonprofit organization.
Okay.
The nonprofit organization funds and seeks funding for the vocational piece, right? Because we can't educate people for free. I wish. I mean, if anybody out there knows how to educate people for free, please look
If we
me
could
up.
do anything for free, it'd
Right?
be wonderful.
But that's
Yeah.
not how the world works.
Exactly.
And so we work really closely between, looking for grant funding, and we're working with Pikes Peak Community College. We have a couple more calls set up this week with a couple more tech schools to figure out how would we fund this? What does that look like to get the tech pieces paid for so that we can get the skill sets created? So they I like to think of the businesses that we have set up as hybrid, right? They kind of need each other to work together.
Exactly. Like epoxy, you need both sides of that.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And they work beautifully. I mean, they're, our nonprofit organization's public. You can see everything. Number one value, one of the top values we have is integrity, accountability. And the top 5 is integrity, accountability, and transparency. It's really important, especially for the work I do. Not only do I, own the businesses, I executive direct the nonprofit, but I'm also an advisor for the Attorney General's office. I also advise the Behavioral Health Administration to the state of Colorado. And so I want to be somebody who doesn't just talk. We see a lot of talk out there.
Right.
I meet a lot of politicians. I see a lot of talk. I don't see a lot of do and action. And so one thing I won't be is somebody who just speaks of something, tells people what to do, and doesn't walk that way. And so something very important to us, especially as an organization, all pieces of us, is how we present ourselves and how we are in the world. And I think I probably chose those values for myself to rise to because they're the ones I see lacking in the world, whether it be in business, whether it be in politics, whether it be in community advocacy work. I see a lot of people talking, a lot of game.
Unfortunately, in this world today, is too much talking.
Yeah, I like to tell everybody my tattoos on my neck say hood and holy, right? There's a little bit of me in both, right? But I do recognize, I do try to live, especially people in recovery. There's something about us that recover. We worked really hard to reestablish ourselves. I didn't have a great reputation If you ask people who I was 15 years ago, there wasn't a lot of good things said about Racquel Garcia. Probably most of them true. Today, I live the total opposite of that. And so I don't want to be somebody who just professes to be something in the world. I want not just me, but our organizations to actually be the difference in the world.
And of course, both of you know that it's just an ongoing process. You're never stopping. And so, Chris, we actually see, so I see on your website, again, it's HardBeautyMechanical.tech. See an address down in Castle Rock.
Correct.
And what areas do you serve around Castle Rock?
The Front Range.
Okay.
Really. I mean, South Colorado Springs, Pueblo, all the way up to Fort Collins.
Oh, wow.
Shoot, I've seen you in the mountains.
I've been in Vail Valley all summer.
So you're pretty much all over the place.
Correct.
I love it. I love it. And then for our listeners, you have a direct email address too, which is chris@hardbeautymechanical.tech. Also phone number 719-660-4131. And are these the best ways for somebody to get a hold of you, whether they be a business or a homeowner, personal homeowner, if they need some assistance in either fixing or building?
Yes, you call that phone number, you get me direct, and my email also.
Yeah,
Perfect.
website, hardbeautymechanical.tech.
Perfect. And once again, that phone number is 719-660-4131, and Chris at HardBeautyMechanical.tech, definitely. And I absolutely love this idea, what you guys are doing, especially for helping people out who are going through things, even coming out of prison where they can't get a regular job, and the teaching in both aspects of that. So let's kind of end right now on the Hard Beauty, the nonprofit type of side. So one, how can people get involved if they wanted to get involved with you guys, more as a mentor, counselor type person?
Sure. So first of all, let me just say that there is no shame in struggling with substance use disorders.
We have a lot of big thing where it's just like, you got to be strong. You can't show people that you're struggling.
Right.
And yeah.
Right. And what I want to tell everybody is the substances by themselves are addictive. Mm-hmm. It just needs you to make a habit of using them. Especially opiate use disorder. I struggled with opiates, and I massively took pills. And it's not as easy as just stopping. Right. I wish it was. That's not the way this works. And you don't have to do it alone. So first of all, if you are struggling, I'm going to encourage you to go to hardbeauty.life.life. And I want you to click on the Discover Your Recovery or the button. And then there's a calendar on there. That calendar is full of free connection. It costs you not $1 to connect with somebody. And I'm going to tie it to mechanical.tech real quick because we start on January 10th. We are starting Blue Collar Recovery, where people, men and women, I know a girl who's been in construction for 17 years. She's going to get on, and they're going to have a space for themselves to talk about what it's like to be sober in their community, and everything on there is free. Anyone in the state of Colorado can get on there and start getting support. Substance use, mental health, domestic violence, intimate partner violence. If you name it, if you feel like you've got some sort of wound, something that's pierced you, please get on there and seek help. It's free. It doesn't cost you $1. And then you can, if you need more and you want more connection and more one-on-one support, then you can click the sign up for coaching button, and that signs you up for coaching. If you have an inability to pay and maybe you can't afford it, please click the scholarship button. More than likely, we have got funding that stretches from all four corners of the state of Colorado that allows you to get this support for free.
And you can see actually on the website just the staff alone that is connected with this, which is wonderful. Oh,
and we are so diverse. My organization, we have somebody for everyone. If you are in the queer community, I'm half Black. You've got all kinds of people that are recovering. So you can go on there and find someone that you might connect with. And then the foundation, if you're looking for a place to participate, if you've got a heart calling, like, God, I just could give there, then I want you to head over to hardbeautyfoundation.org. We have a button in the top right-hand corner that gives you space to donate. You could donate a session for somebody is $70. And then we have a volunteer sign up. So if you really want to get more physically involved than financially involved, click on the volunteer button and sign up for our volunteers, or just come by our office. Our headquarters is in Castle Rock. Sarah is my co-director. She would be more than happy to give you a tour of our building. We've got a run coming up. You can sign up for our newsletter. There's so many ways. And if you're a social media buff, then you can follow us on social media at HardBeauty and HardBeauty Mechanical. We're also on Instagram at hardbeauty.life. And then me. You can find me on social media. There's really, and if you can think of anything that we have not thought of, I'm a giant thinker, and then please let me know. I also have access to services outside of my community. So HardBeauty, I always recognize too, may not be the community for everyone. We have mamas groups recovering on Mondays and stuff, but if we're not for you, then please reach out, because we have navigators that can find you recovery support services all over the state of Colorado. So if we're not for you, I recognize, not everybody loves my arms full of tattoos and stuff, and maybe we're not the space for you, but we definitely can find some space for you. I do have connections all over the state and would be happy to help anybody.
And especially with recovery, mental health and everything, it's all about networking and connections and figuring out what helps.
The opposite of trauma, the opposite of addiction, the opposite of loneliness, everything is connection, right?
Yep.
And so the opposite of everything we've experienced since COVID has been connection. So, the reality is everybody, I believe, will at one point have to recover from something if you haven't been in recovery already. And we all had to recover from COVID. So if we can just give ourselves grace there and remove the shame from recovery. Because like I said, I just lost my dad and I'm going through a whole nother season of recovery, right? And so like you said, it's never ending. It's always ongoing. And we should take out the stigma, especially for men, to ask for support. If I could beg and be fearless and thorough from the very start, is to beg men to get support, because I see the affects of that. Men's suicide rates and loneliness numbers are up. Not asking for help and support. So we'll be happy to help you with anything you need.
Absolutely.
Heating, air conditioning, coaching your brain, what you need, what you want. I tell everybody, I used to be a hustler, right? I was a hustler. I hustled everything. I hustled money, drugs, men, you name it. But today I hustle. I still hustle. It's a good quality about me, actually. But today I get to use that hustle for something different, right? Mm-hmm. And somebody used to tell me your hustle's bad and the way you are is bad. And it wasn't. I just didn't know how to use it. Right. I didn't know how to use this gift that God gave me in a way that would stop destroying me and the world. And today I get to use that hustle for good. And today I'm a hustler, baby. Well, I hustle hope.
I think you both of you are using it just wonderfully. I absolutely love this organization and everything. And thank you very much for coming in, being interviewed by us. It's just great. And please keep in touch.
Absolutely.
Let us know everything that's going on. And we absolutely love it here.
So. Thank you. We love you. Thanks so much for the interview.
No problem at all. You've been listening to HardBeauty and HardBeauty Mechanical with Chris and Racquel Garcia on K4CO Radio. Thank you very much for tuning in. Got a lot of great music ahead for you. Thank you very much.